Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, August 21st, 2025. So we're continuing that bounce, little consolidation area here right on the trend line. I think it's going to bounce a little bit higher, and we'll look for that to fail. So all eyes on this uptrend here. If that fails, then we're looking for a pretty big move to the downside, okay? We have Powell at 10 a.m. in the morning. Maybe that's the catalyst. Maybe we don't do anything until tomorrow where he starts speaking, we get a pop, and then maybe that same day we get a drop, or maybe into next week we start that descent to the downside. So either scenario, we're just looking out. Let's check out all the indicators, and not a whole lot to look at, except for in the 65, we can see that ABC that's starting to happen. All right, let's start with SPX on the daily time frame. By the way, we're doing this at about 2:15, 2:18 Eastern Standard Time PM. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. I love all the support and all of the traders that are in the Discord. So it comes with it, and the trade alerts, and we'll put on some new alerts coming up here. Maybe into resistance here, so we'll look at it on the 65. All right, so we have SPX on the daily time frame. Our moving averages, we're starting to lose the trend. We're losing that 8 EMA, and you know, from this standpoint right here, this could be a bear flag. Okay, price does not have to bounce higher. We are underneath that 20. We're underneath the 8. It is very typical for a wave one to happen and you get a deep retracement, but it's not a rule. Okay, so typically it's a zigzag, but it looks like we're starting a flat pattern. So so far, holding trend, we're at support, but underneath moving averages, which will break. That's the question. McClellan oscillator. Again, just getting weaker. We had that negative divergence, and that's starting to play out. For MACD, the histogram starting to grow there. We got that crossover again. Let's see if that can continue to roll over. And RSI, not quite to that oversold area yet. But if this is to be a wave one, that would be typical. Get a little bounce, get a wave three that gets really, really oversold. And then you get a wave 4 into 5, which should give us some positive divergence later on. That's what we'll be looking for. So Stoke is still heading to the downside, so that's negative. Looking out for a DMARC. I believe it's day 3 or 4. Okay, we're at a 3 count. I'm looking for a 9 count to the downside for a setup to go long. And after we break this, you know, and continue to get our 3, 4, 5, it'll be considered a back test. I'm not sure we'll make it all the way back up there, but whatever the case is, if we get down all the way to 6,000, then we'll be looking for a nice deep retracement at that point. And because we'll have to have those oscillators play out, right? So if they're playing out to the downside, then you want them to oscillate back up to the upper end on a bounce. Awesome oscillator, another red bar. Let's go to SPY. Let's check out this accumulation distribution, the money flow index. Money flowing, you know, basically downtrend, up a little bit today. We'll have to see how that closes. Bollinger Band messing around with that 20 right there. So that's where I think we're getting the bounce from. And awesome oscillator heading to the downside, but still green. All right, so let's check out the VIX, see what it's up to. VIX is kind of playing around in this uptrend here. Got inched out a new high. Let's on the 65. I want to see if there's divergence there, but right now just it's messing with the moving averages here, having a hard time to get above the 50. So it might be bouncing back and forth between the 8, 20, and pinched here in the 50. So we'll look for this area. At this point, I think this is all one move, and we correct that move, and we head lower. We'll check it out to see what that looks like on the 65. I think I forgot to do that yesterday, so I'll make sure I do it today. All right, let's go to SPY on the 65. On that 65 minute, let's check out some of these indicators. And to me, this is a, we had that leading diagonal for wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the extension into 5, and we're bouncing with an A, a B, and then we get our C wave. Again, if this is some sort of flag and we continue to roll over, then we'll look for lower prices, but at that point, I think we'll get positive divergence at that point, and then the move should end after that. So in other words, this would have to be a wave 4 in here. You have your moving averages there. We're pushing down the momentums to the downside, the trends to the downside. All right, so we're looking for, so the MACD can go much, much lower. So it's nice that it's right here, and we're oversold that, and then we can get our whipsaw here to the upside. Perhaps we get that cross to the 0 line, stay in bear territory, and roll over much further. With that said, the RSI being oversold on this wave B pullback here, we should see maybe 50, 60, maybe possibly even a oversold, overbought reading before rolling over. Slow Stokes heading to the downside so far, which is kind of eyeballing what's happening here. So if we can see a higher low start to curl up, that will be our kind of our very near-term buy signal. I'm talking micro, and I'm not playing that to the upside. So we already played an upside move right here just for a scalp in the Discord. An unofficial trade. Okay, DMARC. Getting a 7, you got that 9 count. Now we're starting at 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see where that ends. Is that a count to the upside? Awesome oscillator. Red bars here. I would imagine that it goes to test the 0 line on any higher bounce. Money flow index starting to bottom here. We talked about money coming back in yesterday, getting a little bit higher, probably to that 50 area, and then going lower to a lower low here. Bollinger Band, we're at the bottom. We have that buy signal stretching out that band here. That was a buy. We did pull the trigger on that. And again, I don't trade off of this setup, but this is, I'm telling you, this setup, a lot of people do that exactly with the RSI and the Bollinger Band. And we got that pullback. And now this is, again, a buy setup at the bottom of the Bollinger Band with oversold conditions. We did, whoops. Elliott oscillator. Trying to roll to the upside. We'll see if it makes it to the 0 line. Again, just like the awesome oscillator, roll to the downside. All right, let's check out the VIX, and we'll leave it at that. So on the VIX, we were looking for a possible reversal off of here for a 5-way structure that expanded just like the rest of the market. So now, and we talked about it before. So now what we're looking at, 3-wave move here for a 1, a 2, 3-wave move for a 3, 4, and a 5. Okay, so I'm looking for this to be complete here and a pullback on the VIX. Now that could just close the gap. It could just be a higher low. And so, you know, we're not going to look exactly where the Fibonacci could be, a Fibonacci ratio that pulls back or so. But here's your moving averages. Maybe it just goes back to the 50. Okay, so a couple different options there. And we just want to see, I just want to see, we have that negative divergence here on the VIX. And so I think that's going to help the pullback here, while SPY and QQQ bounce a little higher. All right, so that's what we have for you. Thanks for watching, you guys. And then I'm looking for much higher prices in the VIX coming up here. We've been buying it in our growth IRA. We've been buying new VIXI. We've been buying SQQQ. We've been buying SOXS. So there you go. I gave you some of those hints in the Discord. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day.